All right, we're back after that little thing. Um, so I did have a speaker for today, and she couldn't make it. So we'll put her on next time. And I'm actually kind of glad. I think what I'll do is announce this speaker so that we'll have a little better attendance just at the actual meeting here, just so she's speaking to a couple people, and rather than just everybody watching on video. But we did have our CEO from the Delaware Association of Realtors stopping by, a very wonderful lady named Ann Rundle. She's very experienced with running associations, and we're just gonna be able to pepper her with some questions and see what's what and what's new, what's going on in DAR. I doubt it would be between those of us here listening in the room. I doubt it'll be any type of hey, give us money for this, that, and the other thing. She's a pretty sharp lady. Has been doing this for quite a while. So our next meeting will have Ann here. So I just want to update. We're not going to have too long of a meeting then, because I didn't have too much planned, simply because we were going to have Ann talk for a little while. And I think getting to know our association people, or people within EXP, or people that are prominent, will in the real estate community, it's just going to benefit us as all. So some of the local association news that I had, and I try to just keep taking notes over the course of every 2 weeks to see what's what. In Sussex County, there are 3 new member classes for CE being offered, and that's going to be in the first week of August. So if you're so inclined to take or need any new member classes, and new members have a different requirement than old members, but that's going on in August. In Kent, there's no CE classes scheduled for the summer. I don't see any upcoming in the fall, but I anticipate that they'll have some. And again, our licenses are all due. April 30th, 2018. You need to have all your CEs completed there. Hi, Abby. Hi, Abby.
Good morning.
Good morning. Also in Kent County, just keeping up on the news, there's a couple vacancies on the board of directors. They're looking for people to fill it. They actually have 2 vacancies. If for some reason you're inclined to be on the board of directors and be more involved with KCAR, you could go to the kcar.org site and you'll see an application there to apply as a board of directors member. In Newcastle, there's absolutely no news. No news. So no news is good news with Newcastle. I have some MLS news for us too, and as you know, we're moving from Trend, from Score, into what's being called a mega MLS, and a lot of the countries really looking at what we're doing here. But they are consolidating. I think I read 16 different MLSs. Now, we've had some small ones, like for example, Ocean City and Salisbury. They're not part of Maris. MRIS. They're their own little world down there. They're coming aboard. Sussex has always been its own little world. They're coming aboard. But the news I have now is that Sussex will be fully integrated mid-November. So they'll be using the new systems and making all the changes for the new matrix, or the new Bright MLS. Coastal, which is Ocean City and Salisbury, they'll be coming aboard in December. I've also heard or read that Lancaster, Pennsylvania had their own MLS. They'll be part of our MLS. That'll be in September. Harrisburg had their own MLS, PA, and York, Pennsylvania had their own. So they're coming aboard in October and November, respectively. Now, we still see Trend MLS for those of us up north. And if you're in Maryland, people still see Maris. That will be starting to go away November and March. From November to March. So somewhere between that period, you're not going to see Trend MLS anymore. You're going to be seeing Bright MLS. It's going to be fully integrated, and they anticipate having everybody being called Bright on the same system, same MLS by spring of next year. EXP in Delaware, any kind of news we have, okay? If you haven't seen this already yet, I thank you. I've had some licenses that were not signed, and they needed to be signed by agents. So one of the buzzwords in the real estate world, and especially in EXP, is scalability. So when we were a handful of agents, I always took the laid back approach of, well, when I see this agent, I'll get it signed. But now that we have agents coming in and coming in and coming in, I needed to create some systems for it. So I looked, and I had a number of licenses that weren't signed, so I've been sending them out. So I appreciate those who got them back. If you do have it sitting there and you didn't mail it back to me yet, I've sent them out with instructions, what to sign, where to sign, and a self-addressed stamped envelope. Get it back to me. But I think I'm at a point where I have one license that's not back yet, so that's good. Onboarding. As broker, I answer a lot of questions about onboarding or getting used to EXP in general, or getting used to EXP in the state of Delaware. And as always, I'm glad to answer those questions. I start getting text messages or Voxers about 6 in the morning. People know I'm up early, and that's fine. I don't mind. And I will get Voxers and text messages up to about somewhere around 10 o'clock at night. That's fine. I don't mind. And that's 7 days a week. And I tell people, if I hear it, I'm going to answer it. If I see it, I'm going to get back to you. So, and try to do that as quickly as possible. If those of you probably heard me once in a while, I try to get back to agents so fast that sometimes you may hear me apologize that I haven't gotten back to you and it's been an hour, and I'll notice that sometimes the agent I'm talking to will chuckle, like, well, really, that's okay. But that's just my mentality. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can. So onboarding. There are a number of standard questions that I will get. One of the things that I won't say critical, that I've pointed out to EXP is that you get overloaded with so many emails and things and tools right from the get-go that it's kind of hard to, get everything up and running and going. So often I'll get something like 6 months later, an agent will say, hey, I heard we have free access to Breakthrough Broker. Is that true? And, the answer is, yeah, we do. You have probably a password already, and it's probably in those emails you got, and the answer I'll get back is, and this is quite natural and quite, understandable. Yeah, I got so many emails. I'm sure it's in there. Let me go look, and, but man, there was just a ton of emails. There's so much stuff all at once. So what I have taken upon myself to create, and EXP is in support with it, is that I've created a set of 30 onboarding emails, very short emails to get people used to EXP Realty, and it will cover some EXP stuff, but it'll also mostly cover EXP in Delaware stuff. Where do we get lock boxes? Where's the office? How do we get escrow checks in? How do we request an escrow check? What's our phone system? Et cetera, et cetera. So I am just about. I've really got it done now, and I am in the process right now, and probably today finish up, of getting it into some sort of delivery system where it can be a drip, where I can put, someone's email address in there, and they start getting one email a day. And these emails do involve some tasks, so it's kind of like, set up your Real Satisfied. Today, here's your task. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how you do it. Here's how you get to it. Here's how you get to the login window. Very short, informative emails. So reason I'm telling you all of this is that we will have this in place as you bring new agents aboard, and I think it's a wonderful way of getting people oriented into EXP, even though it's over the course of 30 days. The background on that is that about a year and a half ago, I took on a new CRM software, customer relationship software, and the company was called RealVolve. It's kind of hard to say, but RealVolve. What they did was, that's what they did. That's what they did to get me used to this new CRM, because the old saying is, which is the best CRM software? It's the one that you'll use. So they spent 30 days with, here's your task for today. We're going to set up your email signature, et cetera, et cetera. And I got these emails for 30 days, and I followed them. And maybe I missed a day, but then the day after that, I did 2 tasks or something like that. We're going to enter a new client. So I thought it was just a wonderful way of doing it. I said, man, that's really a good way of getting me, fully engaged into using this RealVolve. Because sometimes you get a new piece of software or you join a new brokerage and it can be a little overwhelming at first, and I think all of us who've joined EXP have at some point been a little overwhelmed because there's a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff and a lot of things. So the point of all this is, I think what I might do is put everybody on a 30-day list. So if you start getting these emails, day 1, day 2, welcome to EXP, they're coming from me, and I just figured we'll get everybody on the same page so that everybody's gone through it. But as we move forward, when we get a new agent or when you bring a new agent into the state, they'll be put onto this email broadcast here too. All right, one thing I want to talk to you about today, a little bit about tips and some training, is coming soon listings. And we had an issue in the state, a small issue in the state. One of our agents, our EXP agents, had a buyer, and they saw one of these coming soon listings on Zillow. Zillow allows these things. And the buyer did the right thing, called our agent, her agent, and said, "Can you find out about it?" The EXP agent phoned this agent, and it was up north, and the agent said, "Well, I wouldn't bother because it's going under contract in another day or two." So the dark side of the coming soon listing is what's called a pocket listing. And if you're not sure what a pocket listing is, that's property that's listed for sale but was not put into the MLS. Okay, it's not per se illegal, but I can tell you that the Real Estate Commission is really looking to clamp down on these, and I don't want anyone in here or with our agency to accidentally become the poster child or the "let's make an example of this agent" person. So I just want to go over some of these things with pocket listings. It is considered highly unethical, and any agent or any broker can charge you with an ethics violation. Just keep that in mind, or any consumer. So why is this? Well, you have an obligation to cooperate with other brokerages. So if your intent to sell a home yourself for the purpose of double ending it, you're not creating a level playing field. Someone is likely to take issue with that. And if someone files a complaint, the commission is obligated to investigate it. Now, the commission can also initiate their own investigations as well, too. So if you're an agent who has regularly coming soon listings, that might be a trigger for an ethics investigation. One thing to keep in mind, this is very important, you as an agent cannot decide whether to put it on the MLS or not. You're under obligation to get it into the MLS within 72 hours. I believe that's, I know it's 72 hours with Trent. I'm trying to think if it's 48 hours with Sussex or not. I'm not sure. But you're under obligation. That's because you belong to them. And just like any club or association, you agreed when you first signed up to abide by the rules of that organization. And it's just like if you were in a club, you didn't follow the rules, they could kick you out. If you belong to a professional sports association, you follow their rules or they can kick you out. There's not a right to be in there. You don't have a right to be in the MLS. So they could kick you out of that. Now, so you can't decide. It has to be the seller's decision. And how do they decide? It has to be in writing. It has to be on the listing agreement. With the coming soon, there are a couple legitimate reasons for it, and I've done them as well. And it's very much that they want to take the listing today, but we've got somebody coming in to put in new flooring, or we're going to repaint, or we need to, declutter, or we had a plumbing leak or something like that. So they say, can we just keep it off the market for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that? That's okay, but it has to be in writing and it has to be specified in the listing agreement. if you are accused of something unethical, of trying to not keep a level playing field, and you don't have that to produce, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose. They could fine you. They could suspend your license and all those good things there too. And keep in mind, just because Zillow allows it, and what Zillow has is a coming soon listing now, and it's for their premier agents, which means it's someone who pays money to Zillow. That's a premier agent. So if you are on a plan with Zillow, to have your listings move to the top or anything like that, or you have that designation premier agent, and again, it's not something you earn, it's something you pay for. You could put coming soon listings on Zillow, but understand, just because Zillow allows it doesn't mean it's actually legal or ethical. Each state is a little different. In Delaware, it's considered highly unethical, unless you have a good reason for it. So, if you are taking a coming soon listing, all right, where the seller says to you, not you saying, well, let's just keep it off the market for a while. The seller is saying to you, well, I don't want it being shown until, such and such time. Well, you still need to put that into the MLS as active no showing, because you still, regardless of the status, you have 72 hours to get it into the MLS. And what you would do is you should have the reason in there why it's active no showing. And you should have a proposed start date. Okay, for example, I would start off your MLS description. You want to be perfectly clear as to why this is not on the market and why people can't see it. Because there's always you're going to get those phone calls that say, well, I see it says active no showing, but man, I got a buyer and it's so hot. He's so hot, and I want to get in it. Can we get in? Okay, where you also get in trouble is not having a level playing field, letting some people in and others not in. That's also going to get you into ethics violations. So I would start the MLS description and then alter it later when it goes active. Something along the lines of, sellers are replacing flooring, and at seller request, the anticipated active date to allow showings will be approximately August 4th. And I think it's good to put those words, anticipated active date, using the word anticipated, and approximate August 4th, because you don't know if the guys and gals are going to finish that carpeting in time or the painting. You know how sellers can be, oh, we'll have this done inside of a week, and then 2 weeks later, well, the dog hurt his hip, and and on and on. So use the words anticipated and approximate. And yeah, start your MLS description with it. Now, the other part of it is, though, if you have a coming soon listing, I try to tell people to get listings into, I'm kind of general with it. I tell people, get listings into SkySlope as soon as you can. The sooner the better. It's not the, I need to put it here to get paid site. It's a requirement to get it in SkySlope so I can review it. But if you have a coming soon listing, I'm asking you that you need to get it into SkySlope almost immediately. If you take it on a Monday, I would really want that up there by Tuesday at the latest, the next day. And that's because the last thing I want is someone accosting me as broker saying, you have an agent and this listing's not on the MLS and I want to know why. And I'm thinking, what's the address? 123 Apple Blossom. And I'm thinking, I never even heard of 123 Apple Blossom. I don't want to be in the dark on it. I want to be able to review it, and I want to be able to see in the listing agreement that it says, and you would put this in additional terms, as at seller's request, house is not to be shown until August 4th due to whatever, repairs being made or staging or something like that. Let's see. I also want to talk a little bit about, so I'm going to leave it at that. So it was interesting. We had this issue last week. I put it on my meeting notes, and this morning I saw one of our agents post in the EXP group, hey, I have a coming soon listing. What's the best way to market this? So I will probably I was hoping that agent would be here, but I'll probably reach out to that agent to go over some of this stuff as well anyway. So again, the whole purpose of this is to keep you compliant, keep you out of the real estate commission office or out of the real estate commission meetings, and make sure that you don't become a poster child. Because the other part is too, anyone can file a complaint. So, if in last week's example, and Abby, you know what I'm talking about too. I know you came in the middle of this, but in last week's example, the buyer probably wasn't all that interested in the listing. But what if that buyer was? That buyer can certainly file a complaint against that agent, as could a broker, as could any other agent, and just say, hey, I think something's fishy's going on, and the commission is under obligation to investigate. So want to keep you guys lean and clean. All right. Another thing that came up was correct listing dates. What is when you enter it in the MLS? So let's say you took a listing today, July 24th, and you enter it within 72 hours on Thursday the 27th. What's the correct listing date? Is it the 27th because that's the day you're entering it? So it's going to show, so the next day it's going to have a DOM, days on market, of 1? Or is it the 24th? Well, it's the 24th if all sellers have signed it. That's the correct listing day. The date that the listing is signed by the seller is the correct listing date to put in. Now, what if there's two sellers, which there very often are? Say there's a husband and wife or two significant others living together, and one signs it on the 24th and the other one signs it on the 25th, and they're both on the tax records, they're both on the deed. The 25th is your active listing date, is your correct listing, the date of the listing. What if it's an estate sale and there's three sellers, and one's in Arizona and one's here, one's there? One signs it on the 24th, one signs it on the 25th, the other one signs it on the 27th. Guess what the correct listing date is? Yep, you guessed it. It's the 27th. It's the day the last person signs. Also, if something happened where you needed to make a change, think of this as, this is a contract, okay? It's a contract between the seller and the brokerage. Okay, so let's just say the seller signed it, but something got changed. Like, hey, well, let's just use the example we were just talking about. Hey, I was thinking about, I know I signed it last night, but I was thinking about it. Can we have this not shown for 2 weeks or something like that? What's the correct listing date? Well, you're going to add that to the listing agreement and then have the sellers initial that change. And if they signed it on the 24th and you made this change on the 25th and the seller initials it on the 25th, that's the correct listing date, the 25th. All right. The other thing to keep in mind is that it's an agreement between the homeowners and your brokerage. So who is your brokerage representative that can sign and accept listing agreements? It's your broker of record. Now, I always like to speak in general terms. Yes, in this case, that's me. But it's with any agency, if there's a new broker of record, it's a broker of record who accepts the listing agreement. Now, that doesn't count towards the correct listing date, but the broker has to sign it and approve of it. So you, just like, imagine you have an agreement of sale, and the buyer fills it out, and the buyer signs it, and you witness it as the agent. That's all well and good. And the other side says, yeah, it's full price, we'll take that offer. When do you really have a valid contract? You have it when the seller signs it, when both sides sign it. It's the same with a listing agreement. And in this case, both sides are the homeowner and the broker of record, whoever that might be. So a nice way of handling that is, and one that I like quite a bit, is that if you have them sign a listing agreement on dotloop, include me in there. Include me in and put the signature box at the very bottom where it says broker's signature. And then I could always, what's nice is I could always it notifies me, and I could always do that from my iPhone at a traffic light if I needed to, as and look things over to accept that. Now it's as far as the MLS goes, that's a little different. I could accept that at any time. So let's just say, using the same example, all the sellers signed it on the 24th. You put it into the MLS on the 26th. You get it into SkySlope, because I don't know anything about it yet, till the 27th. I see it on the 28th and sign it. That's not the listing date. Okay, even though I have to approve it, I have to accept it. But as far as the MLS goes, the listing date is when the sellers sign it. But you don't truly have a listing until both sides, in this case, your broker and the seller, both sign it. Okay, whew. Enough about that. Let me see here. I've got some news. Sometimes EXP asked me to pass along some news in our state meetings. They wanted me to tell you that there's a quarterly survey in the email that I think came out last week. And check your email for it. But they're very serious about allowing you to have a have-at-it attitude. They want, if they are doing something, if EXP in general is doing something good, they want to know about it so they can keep doing it. And if they're doing something not so good, they really enjoy it. I know the people who are involved in getting these things, they're odd. They really want to hear the complaints, and if there are any, and the things that need to be done better. And if you have ideas, a lot of EXP innovations and ideas have come from agents, where the agents have said along the lines of, it would be nice if we could do this and this and this in one step, or if we had this or that. And the powers that be kind of look at it and go, well, yeah, that is a good idea. And they work on implementing that. So it's a have-at-it attitude that they have. Good, bad, ugly ideas, whatever. So they asked me to remind you to look for that, and they really would like you to fill that out. They said it just takes a few minutes. The other thing I wanted to mention with EXP News is, if you haven't gone in there and taken a look yet, we've got new software. It's called EXP Enterprise, and I think it's expenterprise.com. You will sign in with your, hey John, you will sign in with your, and I'm going to interrupt the meeting for something personal for a minute. John, I just wanted to let you know there's a couple pieces of mail for you over at the office, and I stuck it in that mailbox. Okay, that was your commercial break. EXP Enterprise. This is not a piece of software that EXP purchased. This was a piece of software that's proprietary to us, meaning we own it, we created it. They hired, some software writing geeks who are no doubt in a windowless basement in Arizona or wherever they are, writing code and creating this. So a couple things is, one, they want it to be fairly all-inclusive. We had a number of different places. No worries, John. Number of different places where you can get information, but you're going to be able to see your revenue share, and it's kind of what they call on a ticker. So as your revenue share increases, it'll keep adding in there. So if you're getting revenue share, you can always check where it is at the moment. So you will see what was paid. You will always see three things. You'll see what was paid last month, what is to be paid this month on the 22nd, and what is so far to be paid next month on the 22nd. So if you looked in there right now, you will see what you got in June. Well, you'll see what you got. Okay, if you looked at it, I'm sorry, we already went through payment. You will see what you got in July, what you're going to get next month as it grows, and what you got the month before. I guess that's the way it is. There's always going to be three things. So one thing to be cautioned that the next one, if you see it says low and you're thinking that's all I'm getting, it's growing. Okay, the following month, it'll say for August. That one will just keep growing as it gets added to. So it just keeps growing with that. You'll be able to see your stock ownership and understand there's two types of stock ownership. There's stuff that's awarded to you. There's stuff that maybe you purchased through commissions. You'll be able to see both of those on there. You'll be able to see your attraction tiers, and you'll also be able to see your transactions and see where you are and how close you are to capping, and et cetera, et cetera. And there are a couple other things there too, but I encourage you to go in there, bookmark it so you know where to go in there and bum around, take a look. And also, they asked me to pass this along. If you see something that doesn't look right, ask. You'll see in there's support, and you can put in a support ticket right away, because we had it built. So, you would think that if you were building an automobile from scratch, you would remember to put in 6 spark plugs, or better yet, 8 spark plugs. But, we may have missed a spark plug. So let them know. If something doesn't quite look right, just let them know through that support ticket. Also on that note, too, they wanted me to mention that with the support tickets, they've got a new system. It doesn't go to anywhere where someone has, if you have an issue and write a support ticket, it's not going to go to one person or one email, and when someone gets to look at that email, it'll go to a number of places and a number of different people, and whoever grabs it, and it's just going to be rotating, they're under obligation to grab these support tickets as they come in. So it's not one person anymore. It's a couple of people. So good system, much better system. What else? We've got a new broker of record in Virginia. I mentioned it just because they're kind of a sister state to us. Rebecca Staley is going to be taking over as broker of record. Nice lady, her and her husband. I've met them at the EXP conferences. They're real aces. They're going to be replacing Dave Harbor. David Harbor was our Virginia broker of record, and he's moving into more of a regional position. They wanted me to mention that EXPCon 2017 is in Fort Lauderdale. There is a website for it if you want to explore it, expcon2017.com. So it's expcon2017.com. I checked real quick if you want to drive. It's about 1,100 miles in 15 hours. What's interesting with that is, as far as directions for getting there, you kind of get on 95 and keep going until you see an exit sign that says Fort Lauderdale, this exit. So it's pretty simple to get there. It's one road. You just take 95 down the country. I did check some airline flights. That's a good place to fly into. There's some really cheap flights. So Spirit from BWI is $110 round trip. That's for the Friday before. In October, that's the right price it for. So Spirit Airline is $110 round trip per person. That's not one way, that's round trip. JetBlue is $150. American is about $160. So all of these are really pretty good prices anyway. Southwest is always having a sale. Delta is in the, that's pretty cheap. Delta Airlines is in the low 200s, although it's probably $150 if you don't mind being dragged off the plane. When you're I'm sorry. All these prices from Philly are about $150, $160. So it's a good time, I guess, to fly down there. Do I know who in DE is going? I don't. I know I'm going. I'm not sure if the Conlins are going or not. I know Kate Gleason is hard-pressed to miss any of these, but she's doing, like, delivering a baby thing. So I think her due date is, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, Kate, if you're listening in. I think it's like the 3rd week of September, and this is the 1st week of October, so just way too soon for her to get down there. So I know she's heartbroken because she really likes these things. But that might be a good email just to see who is going. In the past, it's been in Las Vegas. It's been in San Antonio. So it's nice that at least it's on the East Coast, and it's, a 15-hour drive, but at least it's within a drive. That's the one overnight. But I was also thinking that by the time you spend gas and, you get that $79 a night Motel 6 in Lumberton, North Carolina as your overnight, man, $110 for Spirit round trip. That's really pretty cheap. So the other nice thing is you could use it as a kind of a mini vacation and write it off, because it's a real estate conference. So your food, your travel, your hotel, that could all be written off. The nice part of it is, I'll tell you, because I've been to a couple of these now, and as we grow, they keep getting better. The trade show is very small. There's not much. It's mostly just some of our vendors, but it's very personal. So it's really kind of nice. Over the years, from being at another brokerage, it's been great to have a one-on-one relationship with the guy who owns Oakley Signs, and he's one of our vendors as well too. So it's been nice to get to know him, and I know I could reach out to him and ask him questions about yard signs and printing and orders and things like that. But he, as owner, he's the one who shows up. The classes and workshops and what they call sessions are fantastic. They really are. There's the usual trappings. There's an awards dinner. There's dancing, but the real big benefit is just the networking and masterminding that goes on. I mean, the people that are being attracted to eXp Realty I can't stress enough how truly there are some of the finest real estate minds going, and some agents who are really producing with good, clear ideas. They're not, let's call them dinosaurs, or they're not this is the way we've always done it, type of thing, agents. Nothing wrong with that, but they're progressive and they're active and they're current on today's market, and it's just amazing to chat with people that you already know but have never met. It's kind of an interesting environment. So it really just brings a lot of people closer together. But the network and chatting, I mean, the happy hours, going out to dinner, the events in the evenings are almost as good as what's going on all day long. So it's on the East Coast. I've got about 10 or 11, and I know we didn't have. I want to keep it a shorter meeting, but those of you here, any new listings? I'm gonna tout a listing here. I could use your help on. I have a wonderful elderly couple who bought their forever home 35 years ago, designed it themselves, and one of them passed away, and one of them is moving to be closer to children up north. So this house is now on the market. Oh goodness, I forgot the price. Mid-2s, low-2s. It's listed as a 2-bedroom because this couple decided that they were going to live there for the rest of their lives, and now, guess what? They didn't. But there is room. There's a loft that's with a closet that's easily transferred into a 3-bedroom. But it's a beautiful open floor plan. It's down. It has a Frederica address. It's in Riverview Estates, but it goes up to the water. A navigable, I don't want to say stream. It's bigger than a stream. I'm not sure if it's actually a river, but you can get out to the Delaware Bay from it. The water goes, the property goes down a hill. There's a dock down there. And so it's, you could put a couple of Adirondack chairs there if nothing else. It's a little overgrown, and that's because the owner is living by herself and is 92 years old. But it's filled with beautiful flowers and gardens, and there's deer to come through. It's, I think, on an acre. So I've had it on the market now for, I think, just about a week, but it's not getting a lot of showings, and I'm sure it's because people aren't putting 2 bedrooms into search criteria very often. So I'd love to figure out a way to list it as a 3-bedroom, and I'm going to work on that. But it's really, it's truly is a very special house. Yeah.
Is it on public sewer and water?
Well, isn't that a good question that a listing agent should know off the top of their head? Yes, it is. Yeah, because it's at the side of Riverview Estates, so they're right on the end side of it. They're really not far off of Andrews Lake Road and off of McGinnis Pond Road. If you know where those two meet or have an idea where those two meet, that's where this house is located at. Very naturalistic, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's public water and public sewer.
As long as it's on public water and public sewer, and if that loft has got that closet in it, you could probably market it as a 3-bedroom.
That's what I'm thinking of doing, and just pushing the envelope with it, just to get into some search engines. I'm just sure people aren't putting in 2 when they're searching. So, anyone else have any listings or anything like that they'd like to talk about? Oh, I'm sorry. The address is 78 Keeler Court, Keeler. Like I said, it's a very, very special house. It's custom designed. So if you think of anybody that might work for it. There is a one of the bedrooms is on the first floor. Like I said, this was a couple who designed this as their forever. Absolutely, 78 Keeler Court. Please do. I haven't done it yet, but yes, please do. The more the merrier by sharing it. But anyone else got anything new, exciting? Any coming soons? All right. Well, that's all I have for today. It's about 10 to 11. Again, this will be up on YouTube a little bit later. One last thing. I think I mentioned it last time, but I did want to mention it again, so I apologize. On YouTube, I have created some videos over the last couple weeks on filling out documents. And I know we're all pretty good with it, but most of them are about 15, 20 minutes long. You know, some are even shorter. How long does it take to learn how to fill out a radon disclosure? But I have 8 of them up there now, including, I think, a must-sell addendum. I don't know if I did the escalation clause. That'd be a good one to get up there in this day and age. We're seeing more. So the longest one is just about an hour, and it really was kind of training for agents who are brandy new to the business or feel rather new. I've also had some agents who, said, I've been doing this for 8 months. I've been doing this for a year, but I can't say I really know why we do all this stuff in the listing agreement or the agreement of sale. Well, that's why the agreement of sale is about an hour of me talking and showing it. So I've got the forms up on a screen and using my mouse and showing you the different things, but I talk a little bit about the whys we do things and some of the variables. Buyer's agency form is in Dropbox. Yep, buyer's agency form is up in Dropbox. I'm pretty sure of it. So if you ever are in the mood, I can't imagine a better way of spending a Saturday night than listening to me tell you how to fill in real estate forms. So, that's, get the popcorn and open up a bottle of wine there. But if you're so inclined, they are up on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to that yet, please do. That's where the meetings go. It is go into YouTube and just kind of search for eXp Realty, in Delaware, and then bookmark or save that or subscribe, I think is what you do. And then it goes into your area there too. Also, I mentioned this before, but I put up a lot of other stuff there too that if you can't find it here, maybe you can find it there, like sky slope training videos and EXP videos and things, real satisfied videos, things like that. So, all right, that's all I have. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you coming, and let's look for this up on YouTube a little bit later.
Sounds good.